Would like to welcome everyone to the coffee break today. I'm Ralph Bickness with Helmuth and Bickness Architects. I've been involved in the chapter since before it was a chapter, so over 21 years, served a variety of positions, including chair, vice chair, et cetera, and really amazed at the progress in green building since the formation of this chapter. Today we have some members and maybe some non-members joining us. We hope some more chime in here. Our chapter relies on funding is the biggest source through our memberships. If you aren't already a member, please consider joining. The goal of the coffee breaks is to provide an opportunity for the community to engage in conversational hot topics over a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage in a 30-minute short break. This is the third of 3 coffee breaks focusing on the International Living Future Institute topics. We have heard about local net zero energy building a few weeks ago and discussed the material and waste petals of the LBC last week. And now we are excited to focus on the Declare product label. This is all leading up to a 2-part charrette, which the chapter is hosting with Earth Dance Farm to help them envision a water-wise restroom facility. Those charrettes will be in person on May 17th and May 24th. So if you haven't signed up, please go to the chapter website and your emails to see how to sign up for that. I'm very excited to introduce our special guest, Mary Rotter. Mary is a sales representative with Golterman & Sabo Architectural Products, also known as GNS Architectural Products. They've specialized in acoustical solutions for building interiors for many, many years. Mary has over 15 years of experience in the construction industry and is actively involved with IIDA, AIA, ASPE, and looks forward to working with the USGBC-Missouri Gateway chapter. GNS Architectural Products is part of Golterman & Sabo Companies, a manufacturer that represents and installs various Division 9, 10, and 12 specialty building products for over 75 years. So yeah, that's a lot of years. Just a quick message. Please feel free to chime in and ask questions after the brief presentation. We hope this is a discussion. And just a reminder to be respectful of others and give others the time to chime in as well. So with that, Mary, I look forward to hearing more about you. I do just briefly want to talk about, before I do that, we have a little history, Helmuth and Bickness does, with Golterman & Sabo. We looked a few years ago at some of their products, their most widely used products, and how they fit in with the different LEED credits. So we helped them identify those and see how they help contribute to meeting LEED credits. We also introduced them to the ILFA and the Living Product Challenge, and met up with the folks at International Living Future Institute about how to go forward with the Declare process. So Golterman & Sabo took off and followed through on that and did an excellent job and has some products Declare label certified that we'll hear about today in that path to do that. So with that, I'll let Mary take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ralph. We wouldn't be here without your support. So I'm very thankful to be virtually in front of you today to talk a little bit about the Declare process. I'm going to share my screen so that everyone can see the presentation I've put together. And if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and chime in, but I do have a section at the end to address questions specifically, but don't feel like you need to wait. Feel free to chime in. Thank you again for having me here. We'll kind of jump in, just give a little bit of background. Fred or Ralph talked about this a little bit just now, but we are a family-owned company founded in 1946. So that makes us in our 76th year this year. We are family-owned, 3rd generation of the Golterman family running Golterman & Sabo companies. So we are a very unique company in the construction industry. We manufacture, we represent, and we also install depending on where our product is going and what product it is. We have built 2 buildings in Tree Court Industrial Park that accumulate over 100,000 square feet of manufacturing. We've got anywhere between 30 to 50 shop workers in our shop working every day. We're very thankful to be quite busy right now, and we're working 8-hour days plus voluntary weekends to keep on track with everything we have going on. So Goldman and Sabo started in 1946 with chain link fences. So we've come a long way since then. In the 1980s is when we really started getting into acoustic panels and fabric wrapped, tackable and acoustical panels. 95% of the products that we manufacture in our facility do not stay in St. Louis. They go all over the country and all over the world. So that's kind of a nice thing to share with folks when we're meeting far and wide. Hey, did you know this product is made, 10 minutes away from where we're located? So it's a nice way to support the local infrastructure. In 2020, we started getting into the polyester market. We had noticed that PET had become I won't say a new standard, but has taken up more of the acoustical market than we had originally anticipated. And so we decided that we should come out with our own line to compete in this market. So those are the products that we'll talk about today in our declare process. So our road to sustainability. So we didn't start with declare. In our kind of pathway to sustainability, we started with the California Department of Public Health and getting our indoor air quality certification. So what we had to do for this is we have to send SDS sheets to CDPH, and then we had to send product for testing. So they would test it for off-gassing. And it's a very unique process how this comes about. So what we have to do is we have to take our product that's palletized in our facility. We have to take a piece from the center of the stack. We have to cut a 12-inch sample piece from the center of that panel, wrap it in aluminum foil, and ship it. All that has to be done within 24 hours in order for it to be tested properly. So then it's shipped off for testing. Now we tested a variety of different products. And so for these products, we have no hazardous substances in our acapella and melody lines. So we do have different qualifications, but for our polyester products, they are CDPH Indoor Advantage Gold. So we can be used in offices, classrooms, large or small areas. The next step in the process was to get a health product declaration. So this is a third-party certification where we are outsourced, and they'll do the STS sheets, and they'll kind of make sure that there's no hazardous products, and they'll identify what's in that product, and it based on a material data sheet of what's made with that. Fast forward, we have to go and work with ToxNot, which Ralph, I know you kind of put us in contact with ToxNot to say, hey, here's what's actually in your product. Because if you're not aware, the declare label, and we'll talk more about that. So it's essentially a nutrition label for building products. So and for other things as well, but specific on talking about building products today. So we have to be able to look at our declare label and add up all the bits and pieces to make sure that they equal 100% of the product. In doing the HPD, Health Product Declaration, that is the way that we were able to determine any missing ingredients that needed to be accounted for. So we actually have a whole web page on our declare certification that you can go to here, linked to my presentation. So here's an example of a declare label and what it looks like. Like we've got a question here. Oh, thanks, Freddie. So declare is renewed annually. So you'll see here that our license expires in January of 2023. So we'll start the renewal process soon. You'll see our building challenge compliance. We are compliant because we are red list free. Our final assembly location is here in St. Louis, Missouri. The life expectancy of the product is the life of the building. And then end of life options are salvageable, reusable, and then 100% recyclable. This product is derived from a recycled material as well. So it's got a really nice story in with that. Pardon me. Some of the things that you'll see on here, there are certain things that we're not compliant or not applicable with. And then you'll see our components and every single ingredient that is part of our Acapella product. Every product will have its own unique ID. So you'll see here GLT 001. And as we move to Melody, we've got GLT 002. A lot of this is very similar, although the products are sourced from different areas. Our Melody panel has the same expiration date. It's also red list free, assembled here in St. Louis, Missouri, and has the same life expectancy and end of life options. And when we actually were working on this yesterday, we noticed that the Melody component list doesn't equal 100%. So we're tooling on this. If you guys are double checking me, we're close, but we're not exactly at 100%. So we have to make sure that we are dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Of course, we want to be completely transparent. That's the whole purpose of Declare. Does anyone have any questions about, well, I guess I could talk a little bit about how we do this. Is essentially for Declare, what we do is we have to disclose 100% transparency of what's in the product. So we essentially send them an SDS along with the ToxNot report to clarify, okay, here's everything that's in the product. And once that comes back, that it's approved, red list free, et cetera, then we're assigned an ID and we become a product for them, a certified product. Any questions so far?
I'm curious, kind of, I guess, just not being directly involved in building materials. What does the red list mean? What exactly does that all incorporate?
That's a great question, actually. So, and it's a great thing for me to talk about because not all of GNS's products are red list free. So some of the products that we manufacture are fiberglass wrapped panels, and fiberglass panels are not red list free. There are trace amounts of different gases that will not pass this test. And so they're not harmful for the environment, but certain clients, certain end users, and certainly, projects that may be going for different certifications like LEED would benefit from using a red list free. So that would mean things like, sometimes we talk about phthalates, and obviously you can see from the product here, this does have some phthalates in it. But there's a whole array of red list items. I don't know if Ralph, if you want to reach into that and maybe, are there any other ones that kind of pop to the top of your head?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, the red list identified by the Living Future Institute for the Living Building Challenge products is a list that they've determined through screening different chemical registries and so forth. They've determined is the most harmful to life. So it's, I think, 20 or 22 groups of products or classes of products that have a wide range from PVC to formaldehyde and things like that. And I did want to say that, when we were looking at some of your other products that had, for LEED attributes, we did, one of the difficulties for you was with the fiberglass panels is that there are fiberglass panels made without urea formaldehyde. as a binder. However, those you've had some problem, you've tested and had problems with them leaching colors into the fabrics. So you haven't been able to use those. Yeah, and adhesives. So we actually, in that process talked with the folks at NAUF Insulation about that, and their challenges in trying to eliminate that problem. So we know you've worked with them. We talked to them. We talked to fabric people, others to identify what was in their products for lead. And so you have to do that with through ToxNot is one of the tools you can use to do that with Declare. So we've been very successful doing that with the polyester panels. And I do want to note that we actually used the polyester panels on the Jan Phillips Learning Center, to meet their materials red list criteria before you were Declare labeled. So the Declare label would really help folks like us in an easy button to say, here's a material we know that meets the criteria because it's declared red list free, and we don't have to do all the screening ourselves to find out what it is. So that's a great help to people selecting and specifying.
Yes, we get a lot of feedback on that, saying, oh, great, this saves me a lot of time because we already have the Declare label. So we know what's in the product, and more importantly, what's not in the product. So yes, we're certainly, we're looking to expand the products that we can have a Declare label for, but formaldehyde-free polyester is something that we're looking into. Another, you brought up a great point, Ralph. Because of the disclosure that's required for the Declare label, we've been unable to get Declare labels for some of our products. We have a product called Fabric Wall that's a site-erected stretch system. Now, if we site-erected that with polyester, red list free, but the problem is the PVC track that we use, they will not disclose what's in the pellets that are used to make the PVC track. And so because we don't get that transparency, unfortunately, we can't get the Declare label for it. And it's a recycled material. We can get all the certifications, but they won't give us the recipe for the testing. So there's all kinds of roadblocks that you can run into, in terms of sustainability and reporting and different things. So it's all in a day's work.
So you are allowed to have a certain small percentage of product with proprietary information where it's not disclosed, but it's a relatively small percentage of the total product. So if we're looking component by component, I can see that could be problematical. Yep. So yeah, the alternative is to have that panel listed as an entire product, but if it's field applied, field assembled out of components, then I would think, as you described, that you'd have to have each one of those products separately Declare labeled.
Correct.
And the PVC track could be a problem. So there's the highest level is red list free, as you've had with these two lines of panels, but there's also lower list, red list approved or declared, which really is about 100% transparency. Again, with that small exception of proprietary lack of disclosure.
Well, that's definitely something that we can look into. I know when I was meeting with our internal person who really spearheads a lot of the testing for this and is responsible for licensing these products, he mentioned that really the Declare label was not super involved, but we had already kind of taken those steps with your help, Ralph, to kind of get down the path of sustainability. So by the time that we, were talking with the ILFI and saying, okay, well, what do you need? Oh, well, we already have that. Here you go. So that made it a lot easier for us. I just wanted to show you, some of you, like you said, Freddie, this is a product that you're not super familiar with. So the applications for these products, some of these are local projects. Some of them are, projects outside of the St. Louis area. And I didn't really talk too much about the characteristics of them because we're really talking more about sustainability, but just to show you, quality, it's important to show the schools, and we've got two different schools here. We've got a library, we've got a commercial space, kind of a meeting room, and then we've got a healthcare application. So these are all different uses of polyester products on walls and ceilings. So it's a product that we're very excited about because it gives us a great environmental story, but in that it kind of opens up some new opportunities. The product in the lower right-hand corner is actually a painted polyester panel. So whereas we've painted fiberglass panels in the past, the painted polyester panels actually have a higher noise reduction coefficient. They're much more durable, and it allows us to match the existing finish conditions of the space. So if you're wanting to use a particular paint color on the wall or ceilings, we can match that, and you can have a really beautiful finish solution. In this case, they wanted to match the glass marker boards with the acoustic panels for these huddle spaces. And then you can see on the lower left-hand corner, we have both some ceiling baffles as well as some partitions. And these are designed to separate the space, but also they will have a noise reduction coefficient as well to help with the sound in the space. Another thing that is not part of this presentation, but when I meet with architects and designers, I do talk about how both Melody and Acapella are mold resistant and antifungal, antimicrobial, and they are bleach cleanable. So in this new era of, needing everything clean over the past few years, this is a great product for all these applications where, you're going to have a lot of folks in one area. You want to make sure that it's safe and clean for everyone. And then a couple more ceiling applications. I've got some baffles on the right-hand side down a corridor, and then some really cool cloud structures and some free-floating clouds. So these are all suspended with aircraft cable on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, I actually use an aluminum C-tube, and we have some extruded aluminum pieces, a U-channel that attach to that. So it's a product, when you say, oh, wow, what can you do with Melody and Acapella? The answer is a lot. We can do everything from a floating cloud to a ceiling baffle to a wall panel to a partition. And all these you can find on our website. And then we've also got a Declare page. And then I also have a link here for the Declare Living Futures website. So you can jump on there too. I'll jump back here if anybody has any other questions or wanted to talking points, anything.
Hey, this is Paul Merrill from Clayco. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Paul. How are you?
Hi. How's it going, Mary? Thank you so
Great.
much. It's really nice to see kind of how the sausage is made. We all are dealing with products, but to actually get your story about how you do it, I think is certainly really, really helpful. We've obviously had a lot of success using your products over the years. What's coming in the future for your other product lines, and what kind of demand are you seeing with the products that you do have certified, and what's next on the list? Because you do have a large array of product offerings.
We do have a large array of product offerings. That's an understatement, to be sure. So we're constantly, with the pandemic, we've never shut down. So what we did, because we have, typically around 40 guys in our shop working, we did split shifts to manage the social distancing. And luckily we had no issues with that whatsoever. We've brought everyone back to a normal schedule. We have a million products in R&D right now. So we're toying with a lot of products that kind of fit into a flex space. So existing conditions where you might have a grid ceiling and you're looking for a product that could be, could attach with a magnet to your grid ceiling. Something that's, a little more functional, kind of modular, if you will. another thing that we don't talk about enough is that we're a manufacturer, and so we have come up with some pretty cool designs, but we work with all of the architects in the St. Louis area, and we really pose it to them to challenge us to create something that's really unique, because we don't charge any extra for custom designs. So if I go back one slide here and show you some of these, this kind of oscillating angle here with these baffles, that is something that the architect came up with, that they wanted to have some movement in that ceiling. And that's totally fine. We're happy to do whatever you want. So in terms of customization with Gulterman and Sabo, Acapella and Melody, there's really no limit. I'm working on no less than probably 5 to 10 custom projects right now with the community. And we're always up for a new challenge. So
a lot of these will be pursuing the certification as well.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, actually, everything you see in this photo, Paul, is certified. So all of these products are part of the products that are that are part of that Declare line certification. So we have that. We're looking at some additional products made out of this material that will be inherently part of the Declare program. And then, and in terms of other products, we'll definitely pursue the formaldehyde-free fiberglass. Ralph, I think we're still working on that. We kind of look at it as requested. So doing work all over the country, a lot of times we'll see those requests from the East Coast and West Coast. But as it moves toward the Midwest, that's definitely something that we'll pick up on again. Right now, we are at maxed capacity for fiberglass and polyester. When we rolled out this line in 2020, we knew it would take a while to get a little bit of traction. It's just the nature of specifications. But we did more than triple what we had intended on doing in our first year. And that really speaks to the architects and designers that are specifying these products, that there is a real need in the market for this type of product. So we're very fortunate to have our own line that we can promote. Everything that you see here is stocked in St. Louis. I have everything literally sitting in our facility in Tree Court, which is wonderful given, Paul, you know how lead times are these days. It's all kinds of things. So we're very fortunate.
I know we are at 10:30, but I do have just kind of one kind of follow-up question based on you receiving more demand, Mary, and I guess everyone in the room. Is that from designers and architects on their own wanting more sustainable products, or more because they're going after those green building certifications? Have you seen kind of a difference, or?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So I certainly see, we're seeing more certifications on the A&D side of things now, whereas you've got your AIA, your NCIDQ, now we're seeing designers and architects who might be well certified. So they're really concerned about the overall well-being of the inhabitants of the building. And so I think that kind of drives more attention to a sustainable product, something that is bleach cleanable, something that is antimicrobial, phthalate free in certain instances. So I think that comes to it. And then I think certainly there's always going to be projects that have, a barometer for sustainability, whether they're going for different LEED certifications or other certifications as well. But I kind of think it's twofold. Ralph, Paul, do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's ongoing movement. There's a lot of progress on the material side. A lot of designers are talking and keep asking questions of manufacturers. Interesting development is that a group I've been aligned with, which is called Mindful Materials, and working with them is a great resource for people looking to select products. But been working with them. They are developing a common materials framework. So they're trying to standardize kind of the ask of questions that designers and specifiers will ask manufacturers. And this is working with manufacturers too. So they're actively engaged in the conversation and have been for several years. So folks like you, what your challenges are and so forth. So, and they've adopted some of the categories of the AIA Materials Pledge, which is all part of this same movement for transparency and healthier products. So that's going to be interesting. I just noticed a few things that in terms of kind of caution. You mentioned your products are bleach cleanable, many of your products. I do want to point out that chlorine is one of those substances that's, involves red list chemicals. So we like to have cleaning products that are not chlorine based. So
We'll have to
that's
look
something
into that.
Yeah, you might want to look a little bit in terms of when you recommend in terms of cleaning and sanitization, non-chlorine based products. So just a thought there. Yeah, so I wanted to bring that up.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, in fact, in the state of Illinois, schools, public schools are required to have a green cleaning program. So part of a green cleaning program would not include chlorine-based products, cleaning products. So there are a lot of sanitizers on the market that are non-bleach based or non-chlorine. I mean, basically, when we say bleach, we mean chlorine based.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of those sanitizing products that can kill viruses and so forth are non-chlorine based now that are safe for people.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll look into it.
Great. Well, we are past our time here. So does anyone have any other questions for Mary? All right. Well, let's wrap up. And Mary, thank you so much for sharing your journey with the Declare label. This is great to learn more about a local manufacturer. Ralph, thanks for your moderating skills. And thanks everybody for joining us today. Hope you have a good rest of your Friday and a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph.
Yeah, bye.
My
Bye-bye.
pleasure. Thanks, Mary. Thanks
Yeah.
and congratulations on your great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
Take care.